Welcome everybody to Unity Myrtle Beach and however you stream. We're so glad to see everybody. I'm not Kate Richter, but she couldn't be here this morning, so Sally called me and asked me to fill in. And you don't say no to Sally. So here I am, deer in the headlights. Anyway, welcome again, everybody. It's the third Sunday in Advent, and I have a little prayer I found this morning to start us off. Gracious God, I thank you for the gift of my love. It is a blessing in my life, and I am grateful for its presence. Help us to cultivate an attitude of gratitude, cherishing each other and the love that we share. May we never take each other for granted, but always express our appreciation and love. And so it is. Namaste. Namaste. Today is the third Sunday in Advent. The first Sunday we lit the candle for hope and faith. And the second Sunday, I believe it was for peace. And today, you can tell from the prayer, is for love. We want to especially honor Ken Adston, who transitioned on Tuesday, our beloved Ken. And Carol is here, as well as his daughter Tella. And we're wishing you all the love and the prayers that we can send your way. Yes. And this is in honor of Ken, as we light the candles. Now, our opening song by the wonderful music team, by Keb Mo. A lot of us know him. Merry, Merry Christmas.
Merry, Merry Christmas. Christmas everywhere. Merry, Merry Christmas. Christmas in the air. Christmas in Chicago, New York too. Way down in New Orleans and right here with you. Yeah. Merry, Merry Christmas. Santa Claus coming to town. Jingle bells are ringing. Mistletoe's all around. 25th of December, happy as I can be. Santa Claus brought me a present that the whole world can see. Oh. Merry, Merry Christmas. Let every joy bell ring. Merry, Merry Christmas. Lift up your voice and sing. Snowman's on the rooftop, reindeer too. Crying out Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year too. Yeah.
Now is the time in our service where we do the Lord's Prayer, or the prayer of Jesus. And so, hopefully somewhere near you is a blue card you can use if you don't know it by heart. So say along with me. Father, Mother, Earth, and breath of all, create a space inside us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment, and untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Do not let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From age to age through you, flow the glorious harmonies of life. May these words be first statements through which our future grows. Amen, amen, and amen. Beautiful. The daily word for today, if I can find it, is love. And the affirmation on my Advent journey, I abide in love. If everyone will repeat with me. On my Advent journey, I abide in love. Thank you. One of the most beloved verses of Scripture calls me to recognize love as the greatest of spiritual blessings. Today I will take the words of the Apostle Paul to heart and abide in love everywhere I go. To the marketplace, I spread my warmth with kind interactions with clerks and fellow customers. At meetings, whether work-related or social, I offer words of cheer that greet everyone as a beloved child of God. I express my love in moments of unconditional appreciation to all people. The more I look for reasons to share my love, the more I will find. Especially during the Advent season, there are many opportunities to visit, to care, to give. I will choose the ones that fill my heart to overflowing. Today I will abide in love. Scripture is from 1 Corinthians, and now faith, hope, and love abide, these three, and the greatest of these is love. Our speaker today, many of us know, Reverend Wally White from Unity of Greensboro. He will be speaking on parenting Christ. I can't wait for that. I'm not sure what that will mean, but I know it's going to be great. So anyway, so he will be leading us in the talk and the meditation. First, the meditation song from our music team, I Send My Love, of course.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power over the heavens,
So I invite you to join me in this time of meditation. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable, or just to find something to put a soft gaze on. Focusing in on our breath, not doing anything on purpose, but simply paying attention to the natural flow. Just in and out. Releasing ourselves to that moment, to the natural flow of our being. I invite everyone to ask yourself, what is an attribute of God that I feel like I could use a little extra support in today? Do I feel like I could use a little extra love, a little extra peace, a little extra joy? Whatever the word is that comes for you. And as you get that word, as you get that attribute, I invite you to send that out into the world. To think of some location across town, across the country, across the planet, that you send that out to. For as Karen Drucker shows us in this song so well, that what we send out is what we will get back. We are planting the seeds of our own harvest when we send it out. We get to enjoy the gift of giving. And as we give that gift, it has to flow out of us so we get it first. And then we send the very best of what we have to offer to all life. We see that gift flourishing and growing and multiplying. I invite you to see the color pink as we recognize that color as attached to love that we're looking at today. Just imagine it wrapping around and around and around you. And I invite you to go into the silence for a moment with that feeling of being wrapped in love. And as you slowly bring your attention back into the space, know that love is mighty. Know that you are love, so you are mighty. Let that help you stand a little taller, sit a little taller in your seat, and exude it and express it. I am mighty love. I am mighty love. And so it is. And if you're ready to bring your attention back into the space, we'll work on a lesson and find out what this whole parenting Christ thing's going to be about. I thought we might be in trouble during the meditation because I realized I forgot to turn my timer on. And I know we all appreciate going to lunch eventually. I say to people often, I can talk forever about absolutely nothing, and I like this stuff. So if I don't use a timer, we could be here a while. I only once as a minister have slipped up and got so into what I was talking about. I was down in Tampa, Florida, and I looked down. I finally looked at the timer, and I was double what I had intended to speak. Almost double, not quite, but yeah, I was like, "Oh Lord," that's what happens. But the timer is going. I'll look at some point. If you're like, "Hey, lunch," I so love being here, and thank you all for having me. And I actually come down fairly often. My aunt has a condo in North Myrtle, and that she doesn't rent out, just family uses. So last Sunday when I finished church in Greensboro, my car was already packed and loaded, and I came here. I've already been here for a week, and I ain't leaving today. I'm leaving on Tuesday, but eventually I got to go back and be the minister of the church that pays me, But anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. Don't leave without seeing my socks at some point. I got Santa socks on. So I wanted to kind of look at the whole parenting Christ came up because one of the first metaphysical lessons I got around Christmas when I first started studying unity was the question, what are you preparing to give birth to? What are you willing to give birth to? Meaning within your own manifestations. It can be the next thing you've been dreaming about, that big thing. It can be just, I choose to live in joy today. I'm going to give birth to joy in as many of the minutes of my day as absolutely possible. And when something slides in, like somebody pulling in front of me while I'm driving, to challenge that joy, I'm going to remind myself that today I'm giving birth to joy over and over. And when I give birth to it, I then have to care for it, right? So that's what we look at when we do our own manifestations, is that we have, when they first come out, they're new. They're just like a newborn. They are a newborn. And so they have to be cared for, and it's like, oh yeah, that's where, if joy is what I've decided to give birth to today, and driving here, this happened. Some guy's going to trap me and make me slow down because he's anyway. I turned my attention back to my soulful Christmas music I was listening to, right? But I can give in either way. I got an invitation. I can get it all in on this party. I can pull out a bunch of words that I'd never say at church, but I said all of them in the car over there, right? I can go all in on that party and then get everything that comes with that. Or I can say, let me take a breath. I hope you get to where you're going safely, because I don't think you're driving that well enough to get there. So I'm going to help you by giving you something, right? I'm going to add some prayers to that instead of going in on the mad part, right? So the other thing that I loved in metaphysical Christmas that gave me a whole different perspective is people like to say, oh, that poor little Jesus boy had to be born in a manger out in the barn with the animals. They wouldn't even give him a space in the inn, right? But see, that's us with our modern thinking of a bed and breakfast. Nice cushy bed, nice beautiful stuff, good pipe and breakfast downstairs in the morning, right? But clean towels, that wasn't the inn that they were visiting. They were at an inn where people were just crashing for the night, right? And they were sleeping on pads on the floor. Probably, if the inn was full, one next to the other, next to the other. The best gift Joseph and Mary and Jesus got was, don't stay in here. Let's get you out to where you can have some privacy. For anyone here who has given birth or been there to support somebody giving birth, the last place you want to be in the midst of that is in a crowded room of other people. Now, you don't even really want to be in the crowded house where they can hear, I don't think they have the insulation we've got. They don't have that noise canceling insulation 2,000 some years ago, right? So like just the privacy and truly the luxury of having that space to do this, right? Now, metaphysically, what we teach here and what helped me fall back in love with using the Bible for my own well-being and for living my best life was the metaphysics of it. Because within metaphysics, we teach it's the study of our own consciousness. It's the study of our own feeling and thinking and how we use that in our highest and best way. So, in the same way that Mary gave birth to Jesus, not Christ yet, right? Because Christ wasn't just this one individual. That one individual known as Jesus came to teach us all how to use the Christ mind that's in all of us. Jesus didn't have any more Christ than you got. Don't go tell some mean people that. They might come after me today, right? No, go tell all of them that. Jesus had no more Christ than you've got. Jesus had no more Christ than the person you like the least on this planet. That person's got as much Christ as Jesus had. And that person's got as much Christ as you got and I've got, right? That's the beauty of really grabbing that lesson and being like, okay, let me figure out how to use this, right? So first we look at what are we giving birth to? If we're giving birth to Jesus, metaphysically, Jesus represented God's idea of man in expression. And Christ is that idea in absolute. Meaning Christ is us in our human form, in our human experience, expressing God. Expressing, you can use all the other words. God is, and fill in the blank, right? God is love. God is peace. God is joy. God. So expressing that. When we express the highest and the best, the God that is within us out into our life, our world, and our affairs, that is the Christ, is that expression.
Amen.
Right? So we all give birth to that, hopefully as often as possible. And we come together at least once a week in like-mindedness to remind ourselves so that we can keep using it, right? So I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and I forget the exact part of the story, but they were talking about, parts of life that they've just always been really happy with and that they didn't need to do any work to that part. They were doing, and I said, no. Like, you have a car that you really love, but if you don't maintain it, if you don't take it and take time to care for it and wash it, around here you probably get some rust, right? If you don't take time to gas it back up, to feed it, to give it the nutrients that it needs to go, it's going to run out. If you don't take it to the shop and get the oil changed out and do whatever else that needs to be done, that's about as far as this gay man can go about taking care of a car. But y'all got the point, right? Like, if you don't take the time to maintain it and care for it, the thing that you love, not just the ones that you know needs the work, the things that you love, if you don't take time to maintain it and give care to it, then it's going to start having some problems. And that's true as the car is a good example, because we all have had to go have the oil changed at some point or another, or ask somebody to go do it for us, one or the other, right? And in that same way, we've got to take that time. Prayer and meditation is a great way to do it. Coming here is a great way to do it. Taking a class, reading a book, doing something that keeps that going for you. If you pick a topic that you're like, oh, I always love that topic, that's the topic that hooked me into coming to Unity in the first place. When was the last time I read a book about that? Oh, well, I don't need to read a book. Yes, you do. Right? Because it's like going to the gym. The bodybuilder, the one that's attained the most perfect body, they don't get to keep it if they don't keep going and doing the work that got it for them in the first place. My mentor was Reverend Della Reese. And Della taught often that don't do to, she would always say to get a man. She was usually talking to the women. But don't do anything to get a love, I would say, that you're not willing to keep doing. Because what it took to get them
It's going to take that much, and sometimes you're going to have to amp up to keep them, right? That's not just true of other human beings that we're trying to partner up with. That's true for ourselves. It's like keep working on that. Keep reminding ourselves of the truth in a way. I remember the first time I read the Game of Life and How to Play It. Now, by the time I read her book, I'd already read Louise Hay. I had been studying with Reverend Della for years. I loved this stuff, and when I'm reading this book, I didn't read anything I hadn't already read or heard somewhere else. And yet I remember I was sitting at a Starbucks in Studio City, California, and I couldn't even sit still in my seat. I was just dancing at the joy of reading this information, of reminding myself of that kind of truth, of reminding myself of that kind of spiritual power that I had within me, right? And that was during a time of life where I was chasing some dreams and hitting walls, right? And chasing dreams so much that I wasn't really worried about going after the jobs that paid the real good money. I was just trying to get the feel-good jobs that I really, really wanted. So that meant there was a stack of bills, that when the check came in, I figured out which ones I was going to pay this week with this check and which ones were going to have to wait till the next check showed up. During that time is when I learned this information so that I had some kind of foundation to stand on in those times where I was like, I might be failing at this whole life thing, right? Like, I'm having some real challenges with this whole life thing. And then I would read this stuff, right? So, using and keeping maintained that Christ within me is important, especially if I want to be happy at all, right? So, if I want to have that released feeling through here instead of that something sitting on me here, like that's how I get there, in releasing that. And so let's look at what it takes to parent the Christ within us, right? Not just the baby Jesus laying on some hay with some animals staring at him, right? Like, what are you doing in my house, right? It reminds me of a comedian I saw on social media at some point. She was talking about people getting bit by sharks. She said, you know why I don't get bit by sharks? Because I don't go in the ocean, because that's the shark's house. I stay out of the shark's house. She said, it's the same reason I don't get bit by a bear. I don't go in the woods. That's the bear's house, right? Well, this is Christ's house, right? So you get to use that all you want. You're encouraged to use it as often as possible, right? Without having to stay in meditation the whole time. Like if you just meditate 24/7, then you're missing the opportunity to go use this human experience that we showed up to use on purpose. I don't think this is a mistake, right? We talk about often, oh, well, this is a spiritual, oh, well, that's that human stuff. That human stuff can dig us into some holes. But I believe that is the expression that gets us the expansions to live our highest and best life all the time, right? So, how do we give birth and how do we care for that perfect expression of human and spiritual together, right? That perfect partnership. First, it comes through Mary, and Mary represents love, intuition, right? And so, on her own, Mary, as the Bible tells it, is visited by an angel and says, and she's scared immediately. She's like, what's going on here? Don't be scared. I've come to give you this great lesson. You are, this great message, rather. You are highly favored, and you're going to give birth to the Christ. She's like, well, that is not possible. I can't have a baby because I'm still a virgin, right? And he says, trust me, you're going to be overcome with spirit, and that's going to be the pregnancy. Now, I could join the club of being like, I got to question this whole human pregnancy thing without, the rest of the pieces of the sex ed that I learned a long time ago about how that happens, right? But when we look metaphysically at it, everything that you're giving birth to starts as an idea. It's a divine idea that most of them we say, oh no, I can't do that. I'm not qualified to do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm too tall, too skinny, too short, too fat, too white, too black, too, right? My trouble twos. We get into that in a way that we shut down, letting it come out into our, but when we listen and we pay attention and we're willing to say yes to what seems like unlikely or impossible, but we say, the Spirit is on me, that this is where we're going to go, and I'm going to say yes and be a part of this, right?
Yes.
So that is using the Mary within. Mary wasn't just a woman that lived thousands of years ago. Metaphysically, that love, that intuition is in all of us. And that's where all the divine ideas start. That's where those seeds come from. And when they come sit on you, here's how you know whether it's the divine one versus just the passing ego one, right? Is if you think of it and you're like, oh, that'd be fun. I don't know how that could ever happen. You know, I don't have the money to pay for that. Or, you know, that requires a scientist, right? Or whatever the thing is. If that's fine, it could be that. And you're like, yeah, that'd be cute. And then that idea came to pass. So let it, right? If it passes and it doesn't come back up, that's all it was a passing thought. But if you keep thinking about it, then it's yours to do something with, right? If the only ideas you ever get are for things for other people to do, right? You're missing your own opportunity because you're the one. It may be that you need to involve some other people to make it happen, but you're the one to manifest this and to carry it forward. And the love is what helps us find the yes. That love that is within us is what helps us find the yes. Now, Joseph represents wisdom. Joseph, as the story goes, he's been, his dad and Mary's dad said these two are going to get married, right? Now, Joseph finds out that she's pregnant, right? So he's going to honor the rule that the fathers have set this up, and he's going to do it. He also doesn't want to embarrass her, but he's also not going to be embarrassed himself, right? So he's going to marry her, and his plan is to quietly divorce her and let her go, right? That's his plan. Now, let's just go right there in our thoughts. It's like, all right, I said I would do this, but I know this can't really be for me to do because I've never done anything like this before. So I'm just, I slipped up and said something about it in the prayer group, and they're all encouraging me. So I went ahead and said yes. But they'll forget about it. I'll just let it, right? Right? We've all had those thoughts in some way or another. It's like, all right, well, I told myself I'd start doing that. But, well, it's okay if I don't, right? We all have those moments. That's that Joseph moment in that moment. Then Joseph got visited by the angel that said, look, you're meant to be a part of this. You're meant to be the father that helps care for this newborn idea. You're meant to be the wisdom that helps guide it from infant into full expression. And we get that with the wisdom. So how do we parent Christ? We find the yeses through love, and we find the guidance through wisdom. Not intelligence. Intelligence is great. Knowing stuff, understanding things that are happening on this planet, very valuable. But wisdom and intelligence are two different things. Wisdom is that inner knowing. Wisdom is just recognizing the truth. Wisdom is that, well, how did you know that? Sometimes I just know stuff. I don't even know. That's the wisdom of it, right? And so read the books, gain the intelligence. But within the gaining of intelligence, you'll find in those moments that there was wisdom that says, well, I know that's the way that they've always done that, but I just feel called to try something over here with this. Let me help guide this here. And that is the parenting of that partnership of our human expression and bringing God into it, of bringing love into a moment of confusion, right? Of bringing joy into a time of grief, right? In those times of grief is where we have to stop and use the wisdom to recognize that we couldn't be hurting in grief if we hadn't loved greatly before, right? In those times, I listened to a lot of Abraham Hicks, and there's a great talk that Esther is giving. Abraham is talking about Esther's lesson, right? That after Jerry passed away, that for a while she walked around and she was really sad and she was really grieving. Until one day when she looked over into that chair that Jerry always sat in, and she felt the sadness and the grief of that. And she heard the voice say to her, well, if you'd stop looking for me where I used to be and look to me where I am now, we could get back to communicating. We all have that, right? When we think, well, things used to be so much better when I was younger. If it was ever good, it still is. Just recognize it's shifted, it's changed form. It didn't go away. It shifted, it changed form, but it is still very present and available for us to use. That's the Christ. That's the Christ. And it's yours to use in the way that will be your highest and best. I could tell you what I do, but some of what I do will work for you great. Not all of it, because I'm my own individual expression, just like you all are your own individual expressions. We've all lived our own lives, some similar, some very different. Those create our own perspectives. And so within that, if we just accept, not only is love available, I am love. So I luckily don't have to go out there to find it. In fact, if I go out there looking for it, I might find some fun stuff along the way, but it's not going to be lasting because I was looking in the wrong place for the stuff that serves me the best. In order to express the love out there in some wonderful way, hopefully with some partner, right? It had to start with me offering love out versus looking for it to take. When we give it, we get it. But when we try to get it first, say, well, as soon as I get some, I'll give some. You're never going to have the gold, the treasure. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's there. I love you, I bless you, and I behold the Christ that absolutely is you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Reverend Wally. That was inspiring and wonderful. We all appreciate it. Now's the time in our service when we can give back. I've never done this before, but I do know that Jesus and I are eternally grateful to have found this place, and I know most of you are too. And as Reverend Margaret says, this is the hardest working group I've ever seen. And we're very grateful. We have lots of gratitude, and please give in any way you can: volunteerism, prayer, coming to the service, or financially by paper check or by online giving or mailing in. And we appreciate any way you can do it, any way you can help. And thank you. And while they're passing around the plate, music team will do something that takes me back. Get together.
Love is so wasted. Here's the way we die. You can make the mountains rain, or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you may not know
the gift and the giver and all the ways we give. In the name of the one true presence, amen. Now it's time for announcements. It looks like there's a lot. Anyway, first of all, the most important thing, welcome to any new visitors. If you're new, would you mind standing, saying your name and where you're from? Yes.
I'm Wanda Norris from Vidalia, Georgia.
All right.
Welcome,
Wanda. Welcome. Anyone else? Yes.
Hi guys, my name is Kaylee, and I am from like 5 minutes down the road, and this is my first time, and I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for welcoming me.
Welcome, Kaylee. Anyone else? Well, we're happy to see you and everyone else. Now, the December schedule, oh, I forgot, there's Connect the Dots with Reverend Wally right after the service. And our meeting in the house.
Wherever y'all do it. Just point me
Usually
in the right
that.
direction.
Usually the house. After the service, if you'd like to attend that. The December schedule is on the back table. Also, a separate December schedule flyer for you to give a friend and invite them for holiday service. Most of the things you need are on the back table. The prayer box is on the back table. Your requests are sent to Unity Myrtle Beach prayer team and then on to Silent Unity. Help for Kids tags are on the big Christmas tree in the back. If you could take one of those and get some things for the children. And I believe we need that back here by December 18th, which is Wednesday. So if you want to participate in that, we hope so. Just bring them wrapped or unwrapped or in a gift bag and help for kids. The Wednesday book group is from 12 to 1:30. The book is The Fifth Agreement, Reverend Margaret and Friends. Shirley?
Focus on Fillmore on Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock is suspended till the new year. You have a lot to do, and we want people to not be rushing around. So we'll rejoin in January.
Okay,
Thank you.
so Focus on Fillmore is suspended until January. The Wednesday evening Zoom meditation class with Reverend Marilyn Maddox. And Thursday afternoons, A Course in Miracles with John Wilder from 11 to 12:30. Thursday afternoon, oh, that was suspended, I'm sorry. All of this is on the back table. I know this is a lot of information. Next Sunday, we'll have Reverend Margaret Hiller. It's the annual candlelight service. And after the service, bring holiday snacks that you would like to share. And we'll stay for Christmas caroling. I'm looking forward to that. With Unity's beloved music team. Yay! I'm looking forward to that. I love Christmas carols. Planning ahead for the new year, 3 classes. The flyers are, of course, on the back table. Matria and Seda, I hope I pronounced that right, January 4th. What is Unity? A new member class with Reverend Hiller on January 10th and the 17th. And Sun Salutation Yoga Challenge with Tammy Kajo, Joe, January 11th. Again, all of this is back here on the schedule. This is a lot of information. On your same blue prayer card, you'll find the prayer of unity inspired by James Dillett Freeman. If you'll say that along with me. The light of God surrounds us, the presence of love enfolds us, the power of peace protects us, and the one presence that lives within all creation enlivens us. Wherever we are, love is, peace is, light is, Now, if you'll stand for our peace song, which we usually sing in the affirmative, yes, there is peace.
Peace that was meant to